Hello everybody. How's everybody's Sunday? Or actually it's Saturday so far. Drop me a chat. Let me know how you're doing. Welcome to the last session of day one here at Global Hack Week, GenAI Week. We're going to be talking about GitHub Copilot, how to make your hack better, faster at Global Hack Week, hackathons, and beyond. So let me know how you're doing, and let's get started. Without further ado, my name is Wei. You probably see me around on Discord and Twitch a bunch. I'm a coach here at Major League Hacking. My favorite languages are JavaScript and TypeScript. And a fun fact about me is I am fluent in regular expressions. So if you want to talk regex with me, please do so. I'd love to chat with you. And while we are here, I'm going to share the checking link so everybody gets your points. So here is the checking link. Make sure you check in. From that link, I'll actually show you what it looks like. Once you're here, you can click login and register. You'll have access to all the resources that we'll be going through this session. You'll have access to the direct link to the GitHub Student Developer Pack we'll be talking about, and some more resources about Copilot. So today we're going to show you the basics of Copilot. Actually, let's go to the next slide. So we're going to show you what is GitHub Copilot, why would you use it, how you can set up GitHub Copilot in VS Code, and how you can use GitHub Copilot through an interactive tutorial. I'll also be showing you how to use some advanced features that GitHub Copilot just came out with, like the agent mode and some of the little tricks that will really benefit you in your day-to-day work. With that, thank you so much. That looks like a cup stacking emoji. Augustine, very cool. That's one of the classic hackathon events that I really enjoy. Now, if you have any questions throughout this session, please feel free to drop them in chat. We have 1 hour before our next stream, which is today in Global Hack Week, which is a recap of day one. So let's get started. Now, you may be asking, what is GitHub Copilot? GitHub Copilot is actually an AI pair programmer that can help you a bunch. It can help you write, debug, and understand code. So these are the three features we'll be showing you throughout this session. Some of the examples you can see below. Copilot has also added numerous new features, which we will demonstrate some of them at this session. Now, once again, if you have any questions, please let me know in chat. I would love to help you out. Now, why would you use GitHub Copilot? If you look at this survey, this chart, this is actually from a little bit while ago, so the survey results might have changed since. But as you can see here, almost 90% of the people, developers, feel more productive when using GitHub Copilot to do their day-to-day work. They are more satisfied and they're more efficient. So I hope at least that convinces you to try out GitHub Copilot and integrate that into your day-to-day flow. And without further ado, let's jump into the setup phase of GitHub Copilot. First, we just want to make sure everyone has Python to do our demo. The example repo that we'll be using, the examples that we'll be showing, we'll be using Python version 3. So if you haven't already, make sure you install Python on your system. It should already come pre-installed in most systems, but if not, just go to python.org/downloads to get that installed. And if you're not sure if your specific Python version is up to date, if it's installed, you can always run the command python-v in your terminal window to check it. So let's do it together real quick. In my system, I'll use the Mac terminal, I can't spell, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here and just do python-v. If you are on a Mac OS, you might notice command not found Python, but don't worry, Python is indeed installed. All you have to do is to affix it with append the number 3 behind Python so that it's Python 3-v. And just like that, you can see I have Python 3.9.6 installed. With that, I should be all good. All right. Give me a thumbs up in chat if you have Python installed. All right, we'll give everybody a couple minutes to just get that all set up. But in the meantime, let's talk about what are the steps that we can use to set up GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot is actually very, very powerful, and it supports a wide range of IDEs, even terminal command lines. So here are some of the example applications, the IDE applications that you could use Copilot with. VS Code, Visual Studio, Vim, NeoVim, JetBrains IDEs. Those are the most popular ones, and it is all supported. And you can even use GitHub command line tool using the GH command and to interact with GitHub Copilot directly. All right, thank you so much. Abiolax, apologize for the mispronunciation there, but thank you for giving me a thumbs up. Now, I'm sure most of you already have it, but if you don't have VS Code installed, be sure to head over to code.visualstudio.com. From there, you can install the version for your system. And yes, we can use Vim with VS Code. It is very popular. One of my great friends actually use NeoVim as well with GitHub Copilot, and it works amazingly. So definitely check them out if you are a Vim user. Now, I assume everybody has VS Code installed. Do let me know if you need a little bit more time. But once you are in VS Code, I'm going to show you this magic command. And I hope you remember this because this is just so popular, so powerful, and it does everything you can think of in VS Code. So take another look at it. You will be quizzed on this. Control-Shift-P on Windows or Command-Shift-P on Mac OS. All right? So remember that command. What this command does is it opens the command palette of VS Code. If you only want to remember one command, it is this one in VS Code, because literally everything you can think of is available through the command palette. And let's do it together to install VS Code extension together. We will use Command-Shift-P on Mac OS or Control-Shift-P on Windows and Linux. You can type in install extension, and this will actually open up the extension panel on the left. It should look just like this. And from there, you can type in GitHub Copilot and get that installed. I believe all you have to do is install the GitHub Copilot extension, and it will automatically install the GitHub Copilot chat as well. So just make sure you do that. And let's do it together. Let's go to VS Code. I already have the extensions panel open, but if I don't, it will look something like this. And I'm going to use my magic shortcut, which is Command-Shift-P or Control-Shift-P on Windows. So let's go ahead and do that, and just type in install extensions. With that, you see the extensions option show up on the very top, and it brings up the extensions panel. From there, all you have to do is search for GitHub Copilot if you don't already have it, and it will be the first option, and all you have to do is hit install. Wow, there has been 40 million installations. Amazing. Even the GitHub Copilot chat has had 34 million. All right, fantastic. Please do let me know if you got this going. Give me a thumbs up, or if you need a little bit more time. Okay. Looks like everything's pretty good so far. Now, let's talk about GitHub Student Developer Pack. How many of you have heard of GitHub Student Developer Pack? All right, great. Thank you so much for the message. How many of you have heard of GitHub Student Developer Pack? I would love to see how many of you already know about it. And if you have, what tools have you used from the pack? Or if you haven't, I'm going to show you what some of my favorite tools are. And let me just send this link as well in chat so everyone can get to it. As a student, you can get GitHub Student Developer Pack for free. And the reason we're doing it today is because GitHub Student Developer Pack provides GitHub Copilot Pro free of charge for students. As you can see here. So we want you to have access to the best and most up-to-date models and features of Copilot, and that's why here is the special link for you. As a student, you just have to sign up through this link, and we can get verified and get access to the pack. So let me actually go to this link with you, and we can take a quick look at the process. Do I have to be in school? If you have graduated, you can double check the requirements. I believe you have to be a verified student. If you just graduated, maybe you're still considered a student. So just take a look and upload the required documentation. I believe you can submit things like, let me actually go to the link right now so that you can see what it looks like. Looks like I have to log in real quick. This might be a little bit tricky for me, so let me try to log in and bring back the window after. Okay, looks like I am in. Perfect. So click Start an Application, and you can put in the, that's my school email. You can use your school email and provide some of the information that they require, and sometimes you can upload a student ID of sorts. Yes, you should use your school email. If you use your school email, sometimes they verify you instantly. You don't have to upload any documentation, but if it doesn't do it instantly, you just have to upload a copy of your student ID, your transcript, or something like that to prove that you are a student. If you have any issues, just let me know in chat. I'd love to help you out. And don't worry if you are not a student currently. If you have graduated and you can't get the pack, you will still be eligible for the GitHub Copilot free, which comes with a lot of features already. It's just the Pro gives you access to more quota, higher quota, and more models. So here is the link once more. And in the meantime, I just want to show you what all comes with the Student Developer Pack in addition to the GitHub Copilot Pro. So let's take a look at this list here, and I'll show you some of my favorites. So you have tools for certification, you have tools for getting started in open source, AI prompting and technical writing, security, web dev, courses, and so much more. Now, if we actually look through the full list underneath, you'll see some of the amazing resources you get. For example, you get a free domain name from Namecheap. You get $200 in free credits from DigitalOcean, free credits in Azure, free domain name from name.com, Notion education plan for free, JetBrains IDEs for free, Heroku credits, and so much more. And here are a couple ones that I really like, especially for beginners, because these are amazing courses that you can take. For example, Front-End Masters, Educative, Codex, Codedex, and and so much more, right? You also get access to some terminal tools, for example, Terminus, AppWrite, Datadog monitoring, and so much more, even 1Password Pro. If you're looking to interview in the future, for example, you might be interested in things like Algo Expert that gives you resources for preparing for coding interviews, icon packs. So just in summary, like this is only like 2/3 of the way down the page. GitHub Student Developer Pack has a lot of great resources that you can check out on your own. So I'm also going to include this link in chat so that you can check it out after. All right, you can keep working on your sign up for the student pack, but let's get started with our live demo in the interest of time. Now, we're going to show you how to use GitHub's Copilot. We have a few different things that we're going to do, but let's first actually clone a project just to get started. And then after that, we'll show you how to create new code, how to debug, troubleshoot code, and explain code. So all those we'll do together live, and afterwards I will show you some of the more advanced features. Now, if you remember, my favorite command, the only command that you need to remember in VS Code, is Command-Shift-P on macOS, Control-Shift-P on Windows and Linux. So let's follow this together. Let's go to our VS Code window and just type in git clone after you open the command palette. So let's do that together. We will open our Visual Studio Code, Command-Shift-P on macOS, Control-Shift-P on Windows. Actually, I think VS Code has a new feature for demo. Let me see if I can, yeah. Developer toggle screencast mode. I think after I toggle on that mode, all my terminals will show up, all my commands will show up, which is very, very cool. All right, so you can see I'm doing Command-Shift-P, Command-Shift-P. And I will do, what was the command I need to do? Git clone, right? So Command-Shift-P, git clone. I should slow down. Let's slow down. Command-Shift-P, git, space, clone. Enter. And then this is very important. Make sure you click clone from GitHub. Okay, because there could be multiple remote sources like other repository or other repository hosts that you may be cloning from, but in this example, we'll clone from GitHub. And after that, let's go to the next slide here, clone from GitHub, and then we're going to type in mlh/copilot starter. So this is going to have you clone the sample repository that MLH has for this workshop. And let's go to it together. So you can do mlh/copilot starter. Okay. Once you see the repo here, you can click on it or just press enter. And afterwards, it's going to ask you, like, where do you want to save this repository in your local hard disk? So you can just do downloads. I typically just do downloads just for testing purposes, but you can put it in your document or anything like that. And afterwards, you can just open the cloned repository. All right, just like that. Now, if you look on the left, like we have all the files now coming from the Copilot starter repository. We have a few text file, requirements.txt, readme, app.py, and some of the system files for Git and dev containers. The bulk of the code will be in app.py, so let's open it and take a look. It is a very, very simple application, as you can see here. You can also look at readme.md. That's going to be like the first ever file you should look at when you're working with a new repo. And you can see here, this is a basic Flask web application. You can clone, you can install required packages, and run the app. So these are all the different instructions that we have. Now, let's go through the slides together. Can I drop the link to the repo in chat? Of course. So this is the link to the repo. That's in response to this comment. Here is the link to the repo, but you shouldn't have to go to it directly. You could. So another way you can clone the repo is by going to it and just do code and then open with Visual Studio. So this will actually do the same thing that we just did. All right. So now I just opened app.py. How many of you are Python experts? If you can read Python code, can you kind of tell me what this piece of code is doing in app.py? We'll give everybody like 30 seconds just to look through and let me know, what do you think this piece of code is doing? All right. Perfect. It doesn't look like too many of us are familiar with Python. And if you remember from my intro, like I am a JavaScript and TypeScript person, so I'm not too familiar with Python. But it looks like we have a few folks in chat trying to help out. It returns the time from the Unix epoch. Question: what is Unix epoch? Can you explain? Oh, Quackers just did. Second since January 1st, 1970. Like, how did you know this? I didn't know this when I first saw the word epoch. I had no idea. I had to Google, I had to search. But with the power of GitHub Copilot, you don't have to do any of that. How can you use Copilot to explain code for you, right? You can do it right in the VS Code IDE. You just need to use the GitHub Copilot prompt, which is has a shortcut of Control-I on Windows and Linux and Command-I on macOS. And all you have to do is type the /explain command. Okay? So this is going to be the command that brings out the Copilot chat, and it will help you explain code. You can either select the whole code, file that you want explained, or you can actually just do something like select the piece of code that you don't know about. So like, what is this? I can then just type in Command-I /explain. I can even pick different models. Maybe I will pick Gemini 2.0 Flash for this, since Gemini models are pretty fast. And with that, Copilot just explained to me, it returns the number of seconds since the Unix epoch, which is exactly right, January 1st, 1970, UTC, 0000 UTC. And here's a breakdown of line by line for this piece of code that I selected. And it has a summary here as well. So this is very, very user-friendly, especially if you are new to a code base. Now, let's go to run the application. There are a couple ways you can run it. You can follow the instructions here. So like, we can create terminal first. You can either use the terminal shortcut if you already know it, or from the menu, terminal, new terminal, or better, just use the command palette, which is Command-Shift-P. Where's my demo mode, by the way? Toggle screencast mode. Here, it's back. Command-Shift-P and terminal. I can do new terminal. And I will just do bash for now. Okay. Boom. And let's kind of go through and set up this project together. All right, so let's first create a Python virtual environment. This is something Varshini also did in the last session. And if you haven't worked with virtual environment before, this is an isolated environment just for this project, isolated Python environment. You can install packages in it. You can do all kinds of things within that environment and not affect other projects. So I'm sure everyone has encountered this problem, or you will encounter this problem, especially in production environments. It's very, very difficult to keep a lot of the package versions in sync, especially across multiple projects. If you're working on a project that uses one version of a package and you're working on the second project that uses something else, it is super poor experience, and it is very error prone if you just use the global system Python package manager. It is much better to keep everything clean and put them in virtual environments. So let's create a virtual environment together. In macOS, I'm going to use the command Python 3, but feel free to use Python if you are on Windows or another system that has the Python command set up. How can I make this bigger? Is this big enough? Let me know in chat if you can see this okay, or if I need to make this bigger. Okay, so Python-m. Here, let's Python-m, venv, and then we can name the virtual environment the same thing, venv. This is a good convention so that there are no confusion in what the folder is. So what this is going to do is it's actually going to create a folder called venv in your system, and it is going to have some dependencies and bins that you can execute on. So these are all part of the virtual environment, and we can activate the virtual environment using this command. So let's try it out. venv scripts activate. So let's do venv bin. Is it in lib? No. How do I activate this virtual environment? Oh, it's in bin. Duh, I was right. venv bin activate. Activate. Permission denied. Okay, great. Let's take a look at why that is. Live demo, right? Oh, okay, so this is how you use it. You use a source, you don't execute it. So on macOS and Linux, it's a little bit different from Windows. So this is the command you can use on Windows, venv/scripts/activate. But on macOS and Linux, you can just do source, venv, bin activate. Okay, and just like that, you can see we are now inside the virtual environment by seeing this venv prefix before our command. Now, we can then run the installation of our packages. In Python, package definitions are defined in requirements.txt. So all you have to do is to do pip install -r requirements.txt. So this is also shown here. You can, once you're in the virtual environment, you can install the requirements, all the packages, by using this command. So I'm going to hit run. And just like that, all the dependencies have been installed. And lastly, we can run the application using Python-m flask run --debug. So let's do that together. Python-m flask run --debug. So this is actually going to spin up a development server on my local host. Okay. And the difference between the development server and the production server, I mean, there are many differences, one of which is development server has hot reload, meaning like if I change a piece of code here, the server will restart, pick up the latest code, and so that when you access it, it will have the latest code. You don't have to manually restart. Okay, with that, let's actually do command click or control click and just check it out. And let me actually go to my Chrome window here and check it out. And just like that, it looks like this is an error page, right? There we have a type error. The view function did not return a valid response. Must be like this is my first time seeing it, especially if you're a beginner, you don't know what's up. So that's where Copilot comes to the rescue. Boom, there's the error. We can use the fix feature to help troubleshoot and fix bugs in our code base. So what we can do is let's go back to VS Code. I don't know what part of code has the problem, so I'm just going to select everything, and then I'm going to pull up the Copilot command prompt, which is Command I or Control I on Windows and Linux, and just put in fix. There are a couple of things you can do, like you can just put in fix and have Copilot try to guess and analyze and find the problem. But in this case, I have an error message. I will also paste that in to our Copilot and Copilot prompt, and it is going to help us fix it right there. So this is a very good way to propose like a more targeted troubleshooting session and more targeted fix. This is very, very useful. So I'm going to see, okay, this needs to return a string, but it's actually returning an integer, so we're going to cast it and accept. Just like that, it added the str casting to a string, and I just hit save, and as you can see, our Flask development server detected the change, and it reloaded and restarted the application. Now, if we go back to the application, you can see now we have the correct prompt, correct message, which is the seconds since epoch, since 1970. So this number is really getting large, all right? So that's been, let's see, how many 1,749, wow, million seconds. That's been a while. All right. So hopefully with that, you now know how to use both the /explain and the /fix commands in GitHub Copilot. Okay, just like that, this application is now running perfectly. Okay, now let's go to the meat of the demo, which is adding to the program. How do we add new features, new endpoints to the program? So here we're actually going to do a couple things. We're going to first show you like how to use the GitHub command prompt, Copilot command prompt, which is Command I, to add a route that shows hours since epoch. This is actually very, very straightforward. You don't have to do /explain or /fix or anything like that. You can just say add a route that returns hours since epoch. And you can pick the model you want, but I'm just going to hit go. And just like that, it has created the hours method that returns the number of hours since epoch. But do remember, like Copilot sometimes make mistakes, especially in Python, where indentation is super, super critical and important. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix it by unindented, because everything has to be on the top level here. There shouldn't have been an indentation. So let's hit save and try it again with /hours. And boom, just like that, we now have a hours route. Very, very quick and easy. You can just imagine this is your application. You can ask it to do anything you want by just using Command I and typing in your requirements. Super, super easy, right? I also want to show you the pair programming feature of Copilot, which is like you don't have to use the command prompt. Like if you are a developer, a lot of times you're writing a function by yourself. Like you just want to code, right? So I can just start typing app.root. It already kind of is guessing what I'm trying to do. I'm going to do a minutes root, and I can just hit tab As you can see, like this is grayed out, but this is actually Copilot predicting what we're going to type. So it's actually giving us some options here, and all I have to do is hit tab to accept everything that Copilot has written for me. And I'm just gonna do a quick check here, divided by 60, that looks reasonable, that looks good. So instead of seconds, we're going to do minutes, which is divided by 60. That all sounds good. And let's go back to our browser here and try out the minutes route. And just like that, it also works, right? Also worked perfectly. So with just a few commands, we learned we learned all three features, main features of GitHub Copilot, which is using explain to explain a code base that you haven't worked with before. You learn how to use /fix to fix an error that occurred in your application. And then we also showed you and learned two different ways to create new code. One is through using the GitHub Copilot prompt, and second is through pair programming, just by typing and accepting changes from Copilot. But as I mentioned previously, you do have to remember Copilot makes errors. Any of these coding tools, AI coding tools, will make errors. They won't always do what you want, what you expect, and they can introduce bugs. So make sure while you're coding with these tools, you are actually double checking. You are the pilot. Copilot listens to you, but you're ultimately responsible for Copilot's work. And if you want some additional resources, here are all the links that we have. These are in the slide deck as well. If you check in, you'll have access to them. And here is my pitch. Add Copilot to your team. Copilot is here for you this entire Global Hack Week and throughout your college, throughout your school, throughout your projects. It can do even more with more complicated code. So try to keep Copilot pairing with you for this event as you work through all the Global Hack Week challenges. It's like having an extra teammate on your side. Really improves the productivity and developer experience. Now, those are the slides that I wanted to show, but I also want to show like two features I really enjoy personally when working with GitHub Copilot. But feel free to message me in chat if you have any questions about it as well, or if you have any tips to share with everybody else. So the first tip I have is this little sparkling icon here, right? One of the things that has always been a struggle is coming up with a reasonable commit message. Especially when you're collaborating with other people, it is very, very easy for you to kind of get lazy, at least for me, to get lazy and not put in a proper commit message. And it really makes it difficult if you want to go back and look at your code. So after you stage some changes, Copilot actually has this feature that will summarize all the changes that you have made and make it into a beautiful commit message. It will even match up the commit message format that you have in your project, whether it's using emojis or whether it's using the conventional commit method. It is very, very useful. It will match up the format, and all you have to do is hit commit and go. So that is one of the amazing features that I really enjoy working with. All right, and the next feature is even more powerful. This is more like, I know Varshini in the last stream talked about cursor and how that kind of works. With GitHub Copilot, you now also have the access to agent mode, okay? So here is the agent mode. Let me actually reload this window just to make sure I have the latest VS Code working correctly. Okay, you now have Copilot agent mode. And as you can see, I just cleared out all my code that I did. Now I'm going to ask Copilot to create routes for /hours and /minutes since epoch in I can give it some hints, like if I want to say in app.py, I can include a file. I can even include other types of context, like the whole code base. If it's a complex project, I can ask it to review the whole code base, and you can even tag more things, as you can see here, all these different options. And then I'm just going to hit go. This is actually going to send our code base here, the app.py, over to, in this case, Claude Sonnet 3.7 model through GitHub Copilot, and it's going to apply all the necessary edits for our requirements. All right. Have you used agent mode before? Let me know in chat. This is very popular. This is very, very powerful as well, and it really makes a difference, quite a difference. So I now have hours since epoch, minutes since epoch, and look, it even fixed our bug in this one go, string converting the seconds since epoch into a string. And with just one line prompt, it did everything we wanted to do in literally like a few seconds, and I'm going to hit keep. All right, so looks like you have been using agent mode daily. That's excellent. I'm glad you're trying out agent mode. It is very, very powerful indeed. And what's more is, like, you remember, like, I actually ran this command manually to start the server. I can even ask the agent mode to spin up the server. I can say, can you start the Flask server? I'm hoping it will do it. Let's see if it will do it. I'll start the Flask server for you. Let me run the command. Boom. And what it doesn't know is, like, I don't have Flask installed. So Copilot can actually read the output from the terminal, like if there are any errors, and it's going to install all the requirements. And it looks like it didn't know about our virtual environment, so I can tell it. We have a virtual environment. We can kind of guide it that we have a virtual environment, and we can activate this virtual environment, then start the Flask server, right? And just like that, it gave me the command it wanted to run. I'm going to hit continue, and boom, it's now running the command for us. Right? And we can actually go to this link if we want to check it out. Let's check out the minutes since epoch. Open up in my other window here. Let's go to this one. Yep. If we close it and then go to it again, works perfectly. Perfect. So now you can see the power of GitHub Copilot. All right, what do you think about Copilot? Not too shabby, isn't it? With that, I'm happy to take any questions about Copilot. We only have a few minutes left before the next session. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know in chat right now. Love to get those all answered for you. All right, awesome, yes. Thank you so much for sticking on with me in the last session as well as this session. Now, if you don't mind, please fill out this very, very brief survey for this workshop. That is at mlh.link/GHW feedback. This will help us a ton. Tell us, like, what did you like about this session? What did you learn from this session? And how we can make it even better for you. We would love to make it a good experience for all of you. Can I do a quick summary? Of course. So just so everyone is aware, you can go to here, Making Better Hacks Faster with GitHub Copilot. That is our session just after GenAI Dev Tools. So this is the one. Please just give us a quick survey there. And let's do a very quick summary. All right, so let's go all the way back to the slides. So in this session, we showed you GitHub Copilot, which is an AI pair programmer that can help you write, debug, and understand code. We showed you a couple examples on how to use the /explain command to review new code bases that you're unfamiliar with, try to understand code, what the code is doing. Very, very useful. We showed you how to use the /fix command to troubleshoot and fix code and fix bugs. And lastly, we showed you how to use the Copilot prompt to create new code in your application. We also showed you how to pair program by typing and accepting suggestions from Copilot directly. So those are all very, very powerful features from Copilot. And lastly, I showed you how to use the agent mode to do everything in one go. So you can actually just type in, create routes. Like this was my requirement. Literally like how many words? Like 9 words. And it's able to do everything that I wanted in one go in just a few seconds. So very, very powerful. And then the last thing we did was, like, I asked the Copilot agent to run the application for us because I wasn't sure how to do it myself. So if you're new to a code base, Copilot can help you with that, even getting the application running as well. Hope that answers your question here. Please do reply if you have anything else. Can you get to use the local model and agent model instead of the ones given? Yeah, that's a very good question. I believe you are locked into the Copilot models. But if you would like to use your local models, there are extensions for it. One of them is RuCode, which we actually use for some of our demos, RuCode. With this extension, this is open source, and you can use your locally hosted models. Very powerful. I believe with RuCode, you can even use the Copilot models, like these 4 models as well, directly from RuCode, if you have the GitHub Copilot also installed. Hope that answers your question. Now let's go to the last slide here. So that's jump. All right, perfect. All right, you are so very welcome. Thank you so much for answering or for asking that question and letting me know. RuCode, you will check it out. Yes, that is a very good open source version of the extension. Basically an open source version of Copilot Cursor and these AI tools. Very powerful, and you can use it with Copilot as well. And you don't have to stick with one AI coding tool, right? You can use multiples and have them do different things. All right, perfect. Now, let's take a quick look, very quick look at what's happening next. If we look at the Global Hack Week schedule, this session is actually the last session that we have today. So this is the Making Better Hacks Faster with GitHub Copilot. Next up is going to be day 2, today in Global Hack Week. All right, tune in to hear everything going on today at Global Hack Week. That is happening in just 5 minutes. Let me see if, yes, looks like Varshini will actually be hosting it. So you'll see her again live on air. Okay, I think that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in for my session, Making Better Hacks Faster with GitHub Copilot. I will actually be running today in Global Hack Week tomorrow, which is the day 3. So if you want to see me again and ask any questions, I will be hanging out there. Until then, happy hacking. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.